Hi, I'm really hoping you can hear me. Maybe I've just pressed something that's made it work. If this is the first time you can hear me in this particular live chat, hello and welcome to Royal Reviewer Live Chat. It's been an amazing week. There's been so much happening, and I really enjoy all of your questions. So this is one of the highlights of my week, and I hope you really enjoy it too. Aha, you can all hear me. Unfortunately, when this video goes onto the main channel, I can't edit out that technical error. So please just fast forward that until you get to the bit where you can hear me. Okay, so let me go back to the questions, because I did actually answer some of your questions, but you couldn't hear me. So greetings to Van Ziegel. Yes, I have got my cup of tea in my hand. Here it is. I've chosen a glass cup so you can see the tea, and I'm going to have a little sip now because it's cooled down a little bit. Lovely. This was a really good idea, us having the conversation about tea last week, and I hope, please let me know if you've got your cups of tea. Okay, lots of people saying they can't hear me, but you can now. Okay, more people saying they couldn't hear me, but you can now. Jason Lewis Young says you have your cup of tea. Well done. Hope you've all got some. Okay. So as always, the format is exactly the same. If you've got a question that's royal related or anything else you might want to talk about, sometimes I do like to go off topic. I think it's sometimes quite nice. It's like we're having a proper chat and we're having a proper conversation. So please ask away your questions. As always, I do have some notes and I do have some things to show you. But I'd rather start with one of your questions first. Steve says, congratulations on passing 5,000 subscribers. Yes, it was amazing. In fact, it suddenly shot up over the last month. I've had about 1,200 extra subscribers, which is amazing. I don't know where they've all come from, but I welcome every single one of them. It's amazing. In fact, one of my aims was to get to 5,000 subscribers, which I've now done. So I now need to set a new aim. Please let me know what you think my new target should be. What do you think would be realistic within the next 6 months? Please let me know. Van Ziegel says, one of the highlights of my week, and you have your mango peach tea. Please let me know what mango peach tea tastes like. I've not had that before. Matt says you're making a cappuccino. That's fine. Coffee is acceptable. In fact, coffee in the UK is actually growing. It's a really growing market, and probably 20-25 years ago, coffee wasn't really drunk in the households, but now with the espresso machines and instant coffee, it is a lot more popular. So coffee's on the up, but I still like my tea. Dawn Moore says, hi Elliot, no tea yet, but will in a bit. That's fine. If you want to pop off and make a brew, that's fine. In this country, we say make a brew, as in you brew your tea. Yes, I've got 5,232 subscribers. I mean, that is just outstanding, really amazing. Matt says, I stayed up waiting till 2 AM and I only got to 4,900 before I fell asleep. Well, I've smashed through the 5,000. I mean, I would like to get to 10,000 subscribers within the next 6 months. Maybe that's a good target. Tim thinks possibly 8,000 by the summer. Steve thinks 7,500. And Van Ziegel says, mango peach tea is lovely, made by Lipton. We get Lipton over here too. Liz says, hello. Hello, Liz. And I'm going to have another sip of tea. Because as I can't remember who it was last week who rightly said that my throat can sometimes get a bit dry when I'm talking for nearly an hour and a half. Tim says, I really enjoy your account here. I like to keep updated about the royal family and I worry about Her Majesty daily. Don't worry, there is a video I haven't yet put out, and the Queen was up and about looking really healthy again. Of course, I showed the video of her last week attending church on the Sandringham estate, on the edge of the Sandringham estate, and she looked really healthy. The week before that, she hadn't really looked healthy. It was her first appearance in public and she didn't look too healthy, but she was up and about. But last week, last Sunday, she looked amazing. And of course, she was joined by the new Earl of Snowdon, who was formerly the Viscount Linley. But she did look a lot better. Okay, Max says, better think of a 10,000 special soon. Hopefully 10,000 very soon. Junior says, hello, my fellow Englishman. Hello, Junior. I think Junior sometimes comments in the comment section as well. Vanity Girl said that comment was from me last week. I do remember now. Steve says, it's nice to see your video about Churchill. Well, I had to do it. Of course, not technically about the royal family, but of course, it's very British. It's a very British bust that's in the White House. So, of course, I felt like I had to comment on it. And, of course, now that you have President Trump, who is very pro-UK and very pro-British, he has a Scottish grandmother, I think I said in the video. So he has family that hails from the UK. He's very supportive of us. He's very supportive of our decision to leave the European Union. We are now at the front of the queue, or at least we are going to get some kind of trade deal with the US. We're still going to have our special relationship. We're going to stand shoulder to shoulder on many of our shared values and issues. And of course, he's returned the bust of Winston Churchill to the Oval Office, which I think shows his intention towards the UK. Loretta says, I saw an article stating Sarah, Duchess of York, was included in the York family Christmas card. Yes, she was. She still appears on Andrew's Christmas card. And you thought she was back dating her ex-boyfriend. To be honest, her relationship status remains fairly unknown. Is she seeing Prince Andrew still? Do they have a relationship with special benefits? Who knows? We don't know. Do they both see other people and then come back together? Is it a really modern relationship in that respect? Who knows? We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But yes, she does certainly appear on their Christmas card. It's a joint Christmas card. Tim says, does anyone drink iced tea there? It's a drug here in the south. We do have it. I do enjoy it in the summer. I do buy it, but in the winter it's really cold in the UK, so we do like to stick to our tea, a coffee or hot chocolate or any kind of hot drink. Okay, Kelly Taylor says hi from Oregon, USA. Hello. You're having citron tea and you think I should go up to 10,000 subscribers. Well, I'm not going to put a limit on it. Whoever wants to join in the party can join in and subscribe, and everyone is welcome to me. Liz says she loves my account. Thank you very much, Liz. Jason says, have you watched The Crown yet? No, but I do have it. I was a little bit poorly last week. I still managed to make some videos, but I do have access to The Crown. I was going to start it last week and talk about it this week, but I do have it and I will be watching it hopefully this weekend. I keep saying that, but I am going to watch it. But I was a little bit poorly last week, so I didn't really feel like concentrating on anything new. Tim says there's a women's march all over. It's crazy. Yes, we have one in the UK, in Trafalgar Square in London. There's a march. I've seen the one on the telly in Washington. Madonna made a speech and she dropped some F-bombs. It's all going off. But my view on that is that maybe, okay, you can protest against Trump's policies, you can protest against what he does, but the actual thing that I think people are unhappy with is the system that let President Donald Trump become President Trump when he had 3 million or so less votes than Hillary Clinton. I think what you're actually dissatisfied with as a nation is your system, and I urge people that if they're dissatisfied with the system, to protest or demonstrate for change. Perhaps the system needs looking at so that the person who gets the most votes, the person that's supported by the majority of the country, actually gets into power. So I think perhaps it's an opportunity for Americans to reevaluate your system. Obviously, you still keep your democracy, you still keep everything else about your system of governance, but perhaps the voting system needs a change to reflect modern day tastes and all that goes with it. So perhaps that's what people should be protesting against, is a protest for change. Maybe that seems a bit more sensible. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Junior says, I'm a regular and a royal enthusiast, as are we all. And of course, I welcome everybody. And even if you're just starting out following the royals, hopefully this is a really good place for you to begin your journey of knowledge, of learning about the royal family. Matt says, sorry, Liz, nothing personal, but I find it irritating when people spell love L-O-V. Tim says, when will President Trump visit the Queen? Probably in the summer. Of course, our Prime Minister, Theresa May, is scheduled to meet President Trump next week. So sometime next week, we don't know which day, she will be flying out to meet with Donald Trump for the very first time. And I will possibly be covering that too. And yes, he will be her 13th president. So of course she's overseen many British prime ministers and of course American presidents too, and she's met them all. Fancy Girl says, do you happen to know how soon Her Majesty will be receiving President Trump? Again, probably in the summer, and of course he will receive a full state welcome, which means all the pomp and ceremony. He will ride in the state carriages, he will stay in the guest suite at Buckingham Palace. So, and I can't wait to cover that as well. Liz says, I love to keep updated on the royals. I do too. I still like to learn things as well. Tim's laughing because he asked the same question. Matt says, Tim, I checked out your channel and saw you visited Buckingham Palace. I'm so jealous. I actually checked out your channel too, and I saw that you visited Buckingham Palace. And I visited Buckingham Palace about 1.5 years ago too, but I didn't get to go inside because it was shut at that time, because I didn't visit in the summer. I visited in October. Liz says, Louisiana, USA here. Hello to Louisiana. Fancy Girl says, F-bombs are not necessary, gosh. Well, we are talking about Madonna. She doesn't follow any kind of rules normally. She hasn't all the way through her career. But I do think that if she hadn't dropped the F-bombs, the media crews wouldn't have cut away from her speech. I wanted to hear it, and I couldn't because she was using the F-bombs and they cut away. So I'll have to find it somewhere else. And you also agree about the American voting system, and I'm not even American. Well, it just seems a little strange to me. I mean, I come from the UK where we have a system which is called first past the post. So basically the party that gets the most votes is the party that's in power. And to me, it seems really alien about the delegate system, where you can have an opportunity, but you can have a circumstance where someone who gets 3 million more votes isn't the elected president. That just seems quite alien to me. Steve says, I heard Theresa May was going to see Donald Trump next Thursday. We don't know the day. In the UK, that's not been announced yet. So perhaps you've heard right, and it might be Thursday. But the official day hasn't been released yet, unless it's gone, unless the announcement has been made whilst I've been online now. Loretta says, why is it she can appear in public with boyfriends, but the Duke of York doesn't have to give an account, but the press says the other royals are public and they have the right to know their business? Basically, because Sarah is an ex-royal, she's back to being a private person. So of course she isn't protected the same way that the royals are. And she's also entitled to do and have and go whatever she wants. Whereas Andrew still has to be careful. He's still protected and he still has a position. Matt says, what's the best time to go to the palace? Well, you can go any time and stand outside the gates. So you can have your photo taken, you can watch the changing of the guard, and that's fine. But to go in the palace, you have to go in the summer season when the Queen is up in Balmoral. So basically all the state apartments are open. You can go in the garden. They have tea rooms set up on the lawns. So you can have a really good time, but make sure you go in the British summer, because it will not be open any other time, because it is a working official building. People sometimes get confused. It isn't just the Queen's home. The Queen doesn't actually occupy the whole of the building. She has a sort of, you know, a smallish sized apartment, if you like, towards the rear of the palace. So everything else is offices, state apartments, staff accommodation, guest accommodation. So it's not all her. She doesn't live and use every single space in the palace. But the palace does have a swimming pool. So the royals and the staff nowadays can use the Buckingham Palace pool. Max says it's always jam-packed though. That's what you have to take if you want to go. If you want to go in the summer and you want to go in there, you have to go when it's packed. Tim says, I'm coming back in June for the birthday parade, but heard Big Ben and the palace will most likely have scaffolding. The Palace of Westminster is undergoing major refurbishments, and they are going to start work on Buckingham Palace. So the likelihood is there will be scaffolding, although I don't know if they're starting with the front of the palace or the back or the courtyard in the middle. I don't know what the schedule of works is, and if I find out, I will let you all know. Nicole says the Electoral College does exist to give smaller states a voice in the process. I'm sure there can possibly be another way of giving them a voice. I mean, perhaps look at a completely different system. I mean, here in the UK, we have bigger cities and smaller towns, but it all works out. Everyone's voice is heard and everybody is represented. So perhaps people need to campaign for a change of the whole system, which is a big, massive change. But if people want a president that's elected by the majority of the people, then you have to do what's necessary. So perhaps look at other countries to see how they do it. Look how Australia does it. Look how the UK does it. Look how Germany does it. There's lots of other different models that you could take and adapt and change to suit America. Tim says, may I ask whatever happened to David Cameron? Don't see anything about it. Well, again, he's gone back to being a private person. I think he's enjoying his life, and lots of British ex-prime ministers go on the world stage and they do lots of talks and they make lots of money from giving presentations and talks about business. Our previous Chancellor, George Osborne, who I actually met in person, I have my photo taken next to the ex-Chancellor. He has now got a top job in a financial institution, earning lots of money. So basically, they just go around on the circuit giving talks and they earn money. But they have gone back to being private people. Pretty much the same way that Obama has gone back to being, he's still obviously an ex-president, but he's gone back to being a private person. Okay, Matt says Electoral College exists because the founding fathers thought it was too dangerous to give power directly to the people. Exactly, it's a very old system that perhaps needs looking at to be updated. And in fact, Donald Trump did say he wants to give power back to the people. Perhaps one way of doing that would be to change the system that actually got him elected in the first place. Perhaps that's what he means by giving power back to the people. Maybe someone should ask him one day. Max says, bad thing about visiting in summer is you'll never see the Queen. That's true. But then that's why the palace is open in the first place, because when she's there, it's being used. It's a living, live building. It's a workplace. Patricia says, can't understand half of what you're saying. Can you hear me? Can you hear the volume? Or can you not understand my accent? Please let me know where you're from. Bansley Girl says, really, Patricia, he enunciates very well. I do try. Max says, what's the little shiny thing on my blazer? It's a pin badge. See the pin? And it's actually a little angel with a diamond at the top, and it's my birthstone, which is August, and it's peridot. So if you want to have a little look, it's an angel with a diamond and peridot drop. Okay, so let me think. One thing we spoke about last week was about the Queen's fashion, and I did say that I'd got a book that I wanted to show you, and I've read this book, and it's actually by the Queen's in-house fashion designer called Angela Kelly, and she is in fact the Queen's jewellery curator as well. So she looks after all the Queen's jewels. She matches the jewels and suggests jewels to the Queen when she's picking her outfits or creating her outfits. And she wrote this book, and I actually obtained this book from Amazon. I don't know if it's still available. Perhaps someone can do a quick search and tell me what the current price is. But it's called Dressing the Queen. It was published in the Jubilee year, and it's by Angela Kelly. So hopefully you can see that. And it's a really amazing book. It's got lovely detail, and if I can just sort of show you. So we have Regal dressing the Queen. We have a lot. I mean, that is an amazing picture in itself, and it's just the Queen standing there. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that one before, but there are some beautiful pictures as an introduction. Welcome to the Queen's wardrobe. And of course, there you have a team of the Queen's wardrobe assistants with a rail of clothes. And it really lets you in to a world that's probably little known about. And you learn all about how the clothes are designed and made. Of course, this creation, there's Angela Kelly, and she's creating one of the Queen's Jubilee outfits. I'm sure you remember her wearing that one. And it shows you her designing them and all the different fashion sketches. So if you're really into royal fashion and you like the Queen style, then of course this is a really good book for you. I mean, it shows you them actually tailoring the clothes right there. And if I just flick through, it shows you about the jewels as well. So here is a selection of the Queen's umbrellas, and she has the same umbrella. It's the see-through umbrella that you see her with mainly, and she has one in every single colour. So it doesn't matter what outfit she's got one to match. There's one of her wardrobes. It really is an amazing book. And here we see some of the Queen's brooch collection. So it even shows you some of her actual collections. And of course here we have the Vladimir tiara, and it even shows you the pouches that the different jewels are stored in. So of course it has emeralds that can be interchanged with pearl drops. So this really is an amazing book. So I would recommend it if you can find it, perhaps on Amazon. Okay, moving on. Steve said, did any of the royal family attend Lord Snowdon's funeral? Only his children. There wasn't a forward-facing picture of the guests. I couldn't find one, so if I do find one in the future, I might put it on Instagram or Twitter or something like that. I think I made out Viscount Linley and Sarah Chateau, from what I could tell from their backs. I mean, it might not have been them, but I think it's more likely it was. But I don't think there was a formal representative from the royal family. Perhaps they went to the church service beforehand, but they certainly didn't go to the actual burial. Tim says, has anyone been to the beating retreat? I'm going in June. Strange that the birthday parade is June 17th. No, I haven't been. Please let me know if you have been, and leave a comment. Matt says, I feel quite sad for the Queen. She has lost quite a few friends in recent months. She has, but then she's at that age where lots of people will die around you, because we forget she's 90. And of course, lots of her contemporaries are around the same age, if not older. But that is still sad. Of course it is. Okay. Living the Good Life says, hello, did you read about the final Curtsey by Margaret Rhodes? Yes, I have read about it, but I haven't read it. And that was one of my books I was going to try and get. So, of course, when I read it, I'll let you know if I can recommend it. Tim says, this may be a bit odd to ask, but what happened to the Queen Mother's clothes and hats? I don't know. I would imagine it formed part of her legacy and was inherited by the Queen. All of the Queen Mother's possessions were, unless otherwise stated in her will, to be gifted out. So I would imagine they have been curated and stored. Matt says, I wanted to go to London, so bad for your for the birthday parade, but you're doing your junior certificate, is that cert or certificate this year? Oh, it's the Irish equivalent to GCSEs. There you go. So perhaps next year, try next year. And I really hope you do well in your junior cert. Jason Lewis says, are there any plans to mark the Queen's Sapphire Jubilee next month? There's no formal big massive plans like the actual Jubilee. I'm sure it will be privately marked, and of course it will be on the news. Perhaps it will be a normal working day like she did when she became the longest reigning monarch. So perhaps she'll just appear in public and maybe make a speech. But nothing big and formal is planned. And yes, it's been, I think, yes, 2012, it's been 5 years since the Diamond Jubilee. That has flown by. Absolutely flown by. But yes, nothing particular marked. And of course, you know, let's hope she's around for another 5 years. Then I think there will be a big celebration. Tim says, February the 6th makes 65 years truly amazing. It is. I completely agree. And of course, we won't see anything like that again in our lifetimes. Nancy Wright says, just checked Amazon and they still have it and it sells for $40. I would recommend it. It is highly desirable for any collector or anyone who's just interested in behind the scenes. You really do get a peek into the Queen's wardrobe, and you learn things such as she's still using gifts of rolls of fabric that she was gifted 40, 50 years ago. She's still using that fabric and turning them into new creations. And of course, she has the in-house designer Angela Kelly, and it just tells you everything that you need to know about how the Queen dresses. Tim says, I must ask, do you think the 70th Jubilee will be planned sometime? I think so. Probably when there's about 2 years to go, it'll probably start being planned. And will the Queen be in good health for it? That's a question I can't answer. But I'm sure even if she's not in good health, she will probably be in a carriage or a car being driven through some kind of parade. I'm sure they will make some kind of arrangement so that she can be involved. Max says, Elliot, I wasn't here last week, so I'm sorry for asking, but did you miss Princess Anne when she was in Shropshire? Yes, I was at work. She came on a Tuesday when I was at work. I work Monday to Friday, so I couldn't attend. I did see the photographs. I was going to make a video, but so much has happened in the week since then that that's been kind of pushed back. And of course, it wasn't a national event, it was just a local one, but I really wished I could have been there. Tim says, not sure where everyone lives, but it's warm here in Tennessee. It's not here in the UK. And it's 71 degrees for you. Wow. Not here in the UK, I'm afraid. It's really cold. Okay. So we've talked about the Queen being joined at church by the new Earl of Snowdon, and I really hope you enjoyed the video Meet the new Earl. I really hope I've described a little bit about his life up till this point, and I hope you come away from that video knowing a little bit more about him. Okay, now there was another story this week about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry took Meghan to meet Catherine and Charlotte. So we believe that that meeting did actually take place, and we believe that Meghan has met Prince William beforehand. So it would be the second meeting for Prince William and the first for Catherine and Charlotte, and George was at nursery in Animal Hall at the time. So George, I think, is the only member of the Cambridges yet to meet Meghan, and it was around the time of Catherine's birthday, her 35th birthday, and Meghan brought her a gift of a thoughts and memories diary, or a book that Catherine could write down her thoughts and dreams and memories, and apparently she was thrilled with it. So I think the meeting went very well. And of course, there's lots in the media about Meghan's family, which I haven't reported on because, of course, they are merely private people and not as yet a member of the royal family. And also, I do think it's a little bit intrusive on her family. Tim says, does Timothy Lawrence have children? Timothy Lawrence being Princess Anne's ex-husband. Hang on just a second. Oh, hello from Toronto from All Sorts. And Steve says, I'm north of London and it's 27 degrees here. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure whether Timothy has any other children from any previous relationships. Perhaps someone can do a really quick Google search. And this week as well, I hope you enjoyed the pictures of Princess Michael of Kent. She turned 72. And when I was doing the search for photographs, I found some really stunning photographs all the way through from her marriage up till the present day. And she's worn some amazing outfits, and she really does wear the jewels well. So if you're into royal jewelry, please watch that video because she has some amazing pieces. And also the fashion is really good too. And we also had the video where the Queen walked her servants' dogs. So of course, her dog trainers, they were a couple, and they've now both passed away. And the Queen walked the dogs while the male servant was still alive. And when he passed away, the dogs didn't have a home, so she is now considering taking them in. And of course, she said that she wasn't going to have any further dogs. But now she is, because she couldn't see these dogs out and being rehomed anywhere else. And of course, one of the dogs, the corgi, is a descendant of one of her dogs. Max says, what do I think about Diana's letters being sold? Who sold them? And was it the palace? Diana was a prolific letter writer. She sent loads of letters out to everybody. Thank you letters, personal letters. They could quite easily have been obtained. They could even have been obtained and copied at the time that she wrote them. So I'm not sure who did it. Obviously, it would have to be someone close, someone who was able to obtain them, someone who had access maybe to ones that have been kept and stored away. So probably an employee of the palace or Kensington Palace. I don't think they particularly should have been sold. Some of them were very private. But the simple answer is we don't know who. And I'm sure the police would be interested in knowing who that was too. Tim says it snowed 2 weeks ago and it's now back to spring. We do have buds on the trees, but it's still very, very cold. Junior says, are you keeping your beard or shaving it? I've had the beard for probably 4 years now, so probably I was slightly ahead of the current beard trend. So please don't go thinking I have the beard because of the beard trend. I probably had it a little bit before that. I personally quite like it, so I'm going to keep it. But I am going to change my hair this week, hopefully. Of course, my hair's got quite long, so I've done it down today, but I will be changing it very soon. Wikipedia does not show any other children for Timothy Lawrence. That's what I thought, but I wasn't entirely sure. So thank you, Wikipedia, the glory of Wikipedia, for confirming or denying things. It's a very useful tool, and I'm very glad I've got Steve to help me. So thank you, Steve. Vansica says, I thought Princess Anne and Timothy Lawrence were still married. I got that one mixed up. They are still married. I was thinking of a previous one. Ignore me on that one. Yes, they are still married. I even put his name in a video recently. Living the Good Life said, yes, they are. Yes, indeed, they are. Timothy Lawrence has no other children. Just said that one. I love the old London landmarks. I have 3D puzzles, and that's from Tim. I've seen the 3D puzzles. We have some close by us in the shop. And I love the old London landmarks too. In fact, I live myself in a very old house. It's pre 1900. It's probably around about 1850, maybe even 1840. So a very old house. Marry Me says, I read the final Curtsey. I think it's worth reading. Well, thank you for that. That's confirmed that I should get the book. Tim says beards are really popular now. They are indeed. I quite like them, and I would like to grow mine a little bit like George V or Tsar Nicholas. They had quite sort of pointy. I don't know if you can see, I am trying to get it quite pointy, but they had it shaved off there, so it wasn't a full, you know. Anyway, I would like one a little bit like theirs, but I think it needs properly styling first. Nicole says, the media reports on Meghan's half-siblings are shameful. I agree. I will not be commenting on her siblings. She has not spoken to them in years. She was raised primarily by her mother. The farmer's troubled older children are not her problem. I agree, and I will not be reporting on them unless they make some absolutely really newsworthy claim that I think could be true. Matt says, speaking of being sold, I watched a video about Princess Margaret's jewels being sold a long time ago. There was some very personal things in that too. Again, if it's Princess Margaret, they were her things. So they're not owned by the crown. They can be sold. So if her children wanted to sell them, then they could. And of course, Princess Margaret wouldn't have been exempt from death duty, so they may have had a very large death duty bill to pay. So that's probably why they sold some of her personal things. Tim says, is it true that the Queen and Prince Philip have separate bedrooms? I think they do. They certainly did on Britannia. They had their own separate bedrooms. In fact, you can go and visit Britannia. You can see their own private bedrooms. In fact, I think quite a lot of people these days actually do have separate bedrooms, especially if people have trouble sleeping, if people have partners that snore, that might keep them awake, if people have medical problems and they have to get up in the night, they might not want to disturb their partners. Some people just get a better night's sleep separate. It doesn't mean you don't love each other. It doesn't mean you're not a proper couple. It just means that you value your sleep. And I'm sure, you know, obviously they have 4 children. So they have a very loving relationship. And also, as you get older, sometimes people do stop sharing a bed and they have their own. So I don't really see a problem with that. But yes, I think they do have their own bedrooms. And on Britannia, Prince Philip had a much more masculine bedroom, which he designed himself. than the Queen, who was very floral and dainty with her decor. Okay, Fancy Girl says, I quite like your beard as well. Please keep it as long as you can. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I don't plan on getting rid. Max says, like the tiara Queen Mary wore in George V's coronation, and a clock by Fabergé given to Margaret by Mary I. Wonder who sold them. I don't know who sold them. It would have been her children, so someone with the authority to sell them. So I would imagine her children inherited all of her things. So it would have been Viscount Linley and Sarah Chateau. Okay, Max says, I hope they brought them back. I don't know. Sadly, we don't know. And we still don't know what's going on with Queen Victoria's sapphire and diamond diadem that was in the media recently about being sold. I did make a video on it many months ago now, and we haven't heard any updates. I think it's actually on pause. I think the matter, there was some kind of injunction put on it, and I think we're still waiting for that injunction to pass. And as soon as I hear anything, I will, of course, let you know with an updated video. And I think that one was selling for about 5 million. Steve says the final Curtsey is available on Amazon for $8.99. A good buy. I would recommend that to anybody just to try. I'm going to try myself. Perhaps we could even start a book club, and that could be our book. And we could set certain chapters to read each week. What do you think about a book club? Tim says, the wife and I have king-size bed and sleep as far away from each other as possible. Yes, I do think there's a growing trend for sleeping apart. I think in a world where, you know, both partners have work and there's lots more stress, I think people value good quality sleep above lots of other things. And if you can get that from separate beds, then in my book, that's okay. Junior says, Prince Philip is my favourite royal and speaks his mind. I do have a video planned as soon as I'm available to make it on Prince Philip and his fashion in particular. So if you like Prince Philip, look out for that one. Mahmood Sa says, hello, Mahmood. Max says, book club, that would be so cool. Okay, so perhaps we should set our book at the final Curtsey. So shall we give everyone, say, 2 weeks to get the book? If we place our orders this week, wherever you are, you should possibly get the book by 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks' time, we can perhaps set a number of chapters to read for the following week. And we can all talk about what we've read. So from now, whoever wants to join the book club, leave a comment in the video so I know perhaps that you're going to join the book club, and let's get the book. And Fancy Girl's laughing at Tim's comment about the separate beds. Nancy thinks a book club is a great idea. I do too. You see, that's why these live chats are so good, because it gives us all ideas. Now, I'm going to show you something else. And look what it is. Look, it's another letter. I'm just covering my address. But look, it's another royal letter, and I haven't opened it. And this one actually has a clue. On the back of the envelope, it has the Prince of Wales feathers. So it must be the letter that I'm missing. It must be from Charles and Camilla. Now, I'm not going to open it here. Sorry to disappoint you. But I am immediately after this going to make an opening video, which I may upload tonight or I may upload tomorrow. So I've kept this for a few days and I've resisted not opening it until tonight when I'm going to make the recording. So again, it's got the Buckingham Palace mark, but like I say, this envelope is different. It actually has the Prince of Wales feathers. So you guys on the live chat has got a really sneak peek of a new upcoming video. So it's the last one in my series. So basically, I've got a reply from everybody I sent the Christmas card to. So that was that experiment, I think, a complete success. So I'm going to start a new one. I definitely have the writing bug. So this time I'm going to do a new experiment. I'm going to send a letter or some kind of greeting to some other royals like Princess Michael of Kent, Princess Anne, Zara Phillips. I'm going to send maybe Sarah, Duchess of York. I'm going to send some different ones off, and I'm going to see how they respond or what they respond with. Jason Lewis Young says, how have you resisted opening it? I don't know. I've just kind of put it in a drawer and tried to forget it. No, Tim, I can't open it. I need to record another video after this, but you got the sneak peek, you got the preview. Mahmood says, what's the photo? I don't know. It probably will be a photo. It probably will be a photograph of Charles and Camilla. It'll be their official one, which I haven't seen yet. I've resisted looking online exactly what it is. So hopefully it will be a nice surprise. I'm sorry for being a tease. Loretta says she likes the idea of the book club and that it makes the live chats more interactive. Max says, I'm just reading back up the comments. Clarence House, I bet. Yes, I think it's Clarence House, but they all have the Buckingham Palace stamp. Dawn Moore says, what's a death duty? Never heard of it. It's basically death tax, inheritance tax. So on the UK, I think it's £500,000 is the limit. So if you have an estate upon death that's worth over £500,000, you're taxed on it. And I think the upper limit's 50% over £500,000. So of course, if you're talking millions and millions from Princess Margaret, the death duty would have been millions. So they may have had to have sold some assets to pay off the inheritance tax. Because maybe Margaret was asset rich but cash poor. So there wouldn't have been enough cash to cover the death duties. Living the Good Life says, is there any idea on the theory why Princess Anne is the only sibling who did not allow titles for her children? I think basically because she wanted them to have an unencumbered life growing up. And to a certain extent, it's worked because Zara and Peter Phillips have a life sort of half in, half out. They're they are members of the royal family. They are royal. They do have a place in the line of succession, but because they're titled, they're also private people and they aren't funded by the state, so they make their own way in life. I think it's possibly a happy medium, and I suppose it's up to you on whether you think Princess Anne was right or not to do that. But I think from her point of view, it's probably had the outcome that she wanted. But I think now, going back to your point about the females not having a title inherent automatically through the female line, so because Princess Anne is a daughter of the Queen rather than a son, her children don't automatically get titles. But I think now that the rule has been changed with the succession, I think Princess Charlotte's children, when she does have some eventually, if she has any, they will be entitled to titles because that rule has changed. And of course, until we get there, until she does actually have children, that will not be put to the test. And of course, we don't know what she will decide. Okay, Marimi says, when is the next live chat going to be? It's every Saturday at 10 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, so that's UK time. So if you pop onto Google, you can always do a search and find out how many hours in front or behind you are, so you can work out what time to be there. But 10 o'clock Saturday Greenwich Mean Time, 10 o'clock in the afternoon, that's PM, but that's UK time. Steve's just been on Amazon and ordered the book. Well done, Steve. And Tim says record it tonight. I will definitely record it. Nicole says thanks for the video on the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, along with Prince Harry on the mental health event. Now those videos don't always get the greatest amount of views, but I do like to cover the work they do. I think it's important that people know about the work they do, and it's particularly with one of their main causes, which is mental health. So I'm really pleased that you enjoyed that video. Vanzy Gill says, goodness, even in death we can't escape taxes. That's true. Does anyone know where Princess Diana's wedding gown is today? It was at Althorpe, and I know that the Earl Spencer had rights to it from Diana's will up until a certain point. But I think that point was up. I'm not sure whether it was up last year or whether it was this year. But anyway, once it's up, or even if it has been up, it's to be returned to William and Harry. So they possibly have it now. That's if it was last year. If it's this year, they will be inheriting it. Okay, Tony says he's so excited. So am I. I'm going to tease you again. It remains unopened. But I will record it straight after this and get back to it. I will either update it or put the video live straight away after this, or I might wait until tomorrow, because of course it is late here in the UK. Tony says, I thought it was at the wedding gown was at Althorpe. It was, or is, but like I say, it was only for a certain amount of time, and since Prince Harry has turned 30, I think that time was up. I think it was until both of her children took complete control of all of the estate, so nothing was left in trust. So I think it's possibly theirs now, and maybe not at Althorpe anymore. Has anyone been recently that can confirm? Chelsea says, hi, what did I miss? I was watching Helen McCroy in Peaky Blinders. You've missed lots, but of course you can always catch up on when the video goes live. But Chelsea, there was a little technical glitch in the very first part of the video, which I can't edit out. Because I do this video chat through Hangouts on air, it means I can't edit it. So there's about 3 minutes where you can't hear me. So just skip that and you'll get to the chat. Dawn keeps saying open, 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 open. I can't. I want to do a separate video. But I do have another letter, just so Chelsea can catch up. I have another letter which I'm refusing to open here on live chat. I'm going to make another video, so I'm teasing you all. Marry Me says thank you. Tim says, what is Hyacinth Bucket up to these days? She's got a dame, no, yeah, a damehood, I think. Was she made a dame, or was she made an OBE? She got an award from the Queen anyway. She's got a new honour. And of course she's in retirement. She does occasionally do voiceover work, and sometimes she might do a stage play. But I do like Patricia Routledge is her actual name, and of course she played the character of Hyacinth Bucket. And last year I did actually write kind of like a fan fiction, I suppose, but I wrote a modern day episode of Hyacinth Bucket on what they're up to now, and of course it does have a little royal twist. So maybe one day I might put that online so that you could all read it. But yes, I have written an episode of Keeping Up Appearances. In fact, it's the first episode of what I plan to be a series. So the first episode that I've written in what would have been series 6 basically sets up an entire series. So it sort of sets the target. So if you like Keeping Up Appearances, I did write an episode. So if you're interested, I could send it to you, or I might even make a video reading it to you. I don't know. Vanzy Gill says 10 PM your time is 2 PM my time in Victoria, British Columbia. Mahmood says thank you. Samantha says, hi, Lord Snowdon was a Jew. I'm not sure what his religion was, but I know that Margaret still kept her place in the line of succession, so perhaps he converted, if in fact he was Jewish. Matt says, just made my cappuccino. Well, I've still got my tea. Gone a little bit cold, but I still don't mind drinking cold today. Tony says, I have not been and watched a document on YouTube, but went last week. Hang on, let me start that again. Tony Jones says, I have not been, but you watched a documentary on YouTube last week about it. And of course, we're talking about Awful. Personally, I think it's been returned, because I did read somewhere that the time was coming up. And I can't remember how long ago it was that I read it. So perhaps that's already up. But I know that as soon as William and Harry were entitled to the whole of Diana's estate, and it wasn't in trust anymore, that they were to get the dress back. Letter says Amazon's the final courtesy for $9.97. Of course, have a shop around. You don't have to use Amazon. Tony Jones says, I also got a letter from Buckingham Palace. And you wrote 2 Christmases ago, and you were thrilled. I keep it in a Ziploc bag. I have mine framed. Steve says, Patricia Routledge was made a Dane. I thought she was. About time too as well. In fact, I think she should have been made a Dane perhaps 10, 15 years ago. Nicole says, congratulations, Tony. Steve says, I would be interested in keeping up appearances. I have the DVDs. I absolutely love Hyacinth Bucket. I mean, I'm sure to live with and to live next to, she would be a complete nightmare. But she is a little bit of an idol. I do really like Hyacinth Bucket, or Bouquet, as she likes to be called. Kelly says, yes, read it online. Oh, so Kelly's actually read it. I can't believe it. In fact, I only posted it in one place, and that was the Keeping Up Appearances group on Facebook. So that must be where Kelly read it. So in fact, I'd even forgotten that I'd put it up there. So if you want to read it, go to the KUP, Keeping Up Appearances group on Facebook. And if you look in the, I think it was the document section or uploads, you can find the Series 6, Episode 1 that I wrote. So Kelly, I'm interested. What did you think about it? Let me know. We now have President Trump who's joined us. Hello, President Trump. I didn't know that I was so well watched. In fact, President Trump, we were talking about you earlier. Ray Lee says the book is 5.14 for Kindle. Matt says, haha, Trump. Tony says, have you gone to any of the palaces for a tour? If yes, thoughts? No, I haven't. I've been close to them. I've walked around them. In fact, when I was in London, I stayed at Kensington Gardens, which is right opposite Kensington Palace. I mean, I could literally see Kensington Palace from my bedroom window when I was there. I could almost see Catherine doing the washing up through the window. I was that close, but I didn't get to go in. I had a very busy schedule and we were doing lots of sightseeing. So I saw Madame Tussauds and lots of other landmarks and took lots of bus tours. So I didn't get to go in the palace, or the palaces, Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace. And of course, I wouldn't have minded a slight trip out to Hampton Court as well. But I would really love to. In fact, I plan to go back to London, but this time I will be filming. I have a camera that I can take and I can film some live footage. President Trump says, I know the CIA told me. Well, you were just there. In fact, I saw your speech. President Trump says, would I like to come to the White House? Yes, I would. Perhaps we could talk about the royal family. Kelly says, no, sorry, wanted you to read it, please. The only problem is I'm not very good at doing the voices. So if I read it, you'd be listening to me thinking, that's not Hyacinth's voice, that's not Onslow's voice. But I don't mind, I can read it for you guys. And of course, I've written it in an actual script. So it's not like a book. I've actually written an actual script as if actors were going to do it, and it has stage directions on it as well. So I could possibly rewrite it into an actual fiction episode, maybe. I don't know. Matt says, it says online the dress was given to the Prince William and Harry when they turned 30. That's what I said. It was when Harry turned 30. So, of course, obviously William's older, so they had to wait until Harry got to 30. So I knew it was round about now. I think it's both. So it's not William or Harry, it's both. So I think obviously William hit 30 first, but of course that didn't matter. It had to wait until the youngest hit 30, which was Harry. So they have it now. It's no longer at Althorpe. Jason says, I'd personally love to see Balmoral and Sandringham. Me too. I'm hoping to go to Sandringham for your birthday. When's your birthday? Let me know. So Vanity Girl's got a question for Mr. President about his taxes. Let us know, Mr. President, how much you pay in taxes. Chelsea says, I love the new First Lady's dress. I liked it too. I thought it was very stylish. In fact, the whole First families looked amazing. They were very dazzling. Regardless of what you think about them, they did look the part. And Ivanka looked absolutely amazing too. And I was really happy to see a very strong Hillary Clinton who turned up to the event. And of course, you saw a moment when she was walking down and she did take in a deep breath and she steeled herself and got herself ready and she grabbed Bill's arm as if to say, come on, let's do this. And she got through it. So I was really proud of Hillary too. And I was really happy that President Trump thanked Hillary when they were having the dinner. Tony says you joined late, but have you gotten into the crown? I did say earlier I was poorly last week. I was a little bit ill. I did battle through and make some videos, but I was a bit poorly. I didn't really want to start anything new when I wasn't feeling too good. So now that I'm back to health, I will watch it. I do have access to it. So hopefully for next week, I'll let you know. Nicole says, do you believe that Prince William is ready to take on more duties? Yes, I think the time has come. I think it's a very natural time to do it anyway because George is starting school. Now, an update about George. Now, in an earlier video, I said that he had his name down for Wetherby School, which is a pre-prep school in London, in Kensington, which his father, William, and Harry went to. Now, it appears that that story is still a little bit up in the air because Wetherby School is part of a group. It's a group of schools, like a chain of schools. So although he has his name down for Wetherby, it could be any of a number of Wetherby schools. And they do have a new one opening that's right next to Kensington Palace, a couple of streets away, in fact. So it's unclear at the minute whether he will go to a slightly further away one where his father went and Harry, or whether he will go to the new one. But either way, his name is down for a school close to Kensington Palace that's part of the same group at least that his father went to. So we wait to see. The announcement hasn't been made yet, but obviously the statement was made by Prince William via social media that he was giving up his job as an air ambulance rescue pilot, and they were decamping from Animal Hall, which will now just be used for holidays and weekends, to set up a permanent base at Apartment 1A, Kensington Palace in London. And of course, they're ready to take on more duties, which the press has been calling for and the public has been calling for. And of course, the Queen needs that support. She's passing on more and more duties, and I think the time has come. Jason's birthday is on July the 30th. Max says, I'm quite disappointed to hear that the Queen isn't going on any long-haul flights. I think that's just a concession to her age, and I think she's done as well as she has to have made as many trips as she has, as late in life as she has. So I think we should be lucky and thankful that she's done what she's been able to do. Perhaps she might go to Ireland. That would be classed as a short haul. and also perhaps in mainland Europe as well. Perhaps you might go on short tours to there too. Okay, I'm just going to check my list to see if we missed anything that I really wanted to talk about. Okay, Prince Harry is also taking on a new patronage of Conservation Botswana, which aims to protect endangered rhinos. I did make a video on it, so if you want to watch some really amazing pictures of Prince Harry rescuing endangered rhinos, that's the video for you. And of course, he has a real support for Africa and lots of conservation in Africa and lots of animals and wildlife. So that's a really nice video. Please go and watch. Okay, the only other thing I really had on my list that I wanted to talk to you about was a new idea that I've actually got it, in fact. In my local supermarket, we now have an American section. In fact, it's only a very small section. It's kind of like the end of an aisle, but nevertheless, it's full of American food. And it's American food that some of which I've never even heard of, and I've certainly never tasted or tried. So I bought a drink and some chocolates and some food to try. And I was going to make a video of a British person, me, trying some American food and what I thought about it, and the prices as well. I mean, in this country, for what I bought, it was very expensive. So I'm thinking you would probably be amazed at what the price is over here for probably stuff that you get really cheap. So I was wondering if you'd be interested in seeing the videos of a Brit trying American food. Let me know what you think. Tony says, do you know how much personal property the Queen owns around the world? There was a news story about her buying a fancy condo in Chicago a few years ago. I never heard that story, therefore I don't think it's true. I don't believe that she owns many properties abroad. Prince Charles does own a property in, I think it was it Transylvania or something like that. He has some kind of property in Europe, and of course they have properties all over the UK, and in fact the Crown Estates, which the Queen owns but yet can't sell or can't count as personal wealth. She holds in trust on behalf of the nation. I mean, that is probably hundreds of thousands and thousands and possibly even millions of acres of offshore, sea territory and land. But I don't think she owns any personal properties abroad like a condo. I've never heard that story, in fact. Chelsea says, my birthday is the 22nd of March, not a good day for fans of Cats and Sweeney Todd. Definitely not. Just a personal question for Chelsea. I know you posted a comment a few weeks ago about your new job. Just wondering how your new job was going. Kelly says, the Queen is an amazing woman. I do find it to be an inspiration on so many levels. I completely agree. Matt says, dressing the Queen on Amazon is £25. That's a good price. I would buy it if I didn't already have it. Matt says, is The Wicked Wit of Queen Elizabeth II a serious book about her or some joke? I actually have the book. I confess I have it, but I haven't read it. It's one, a few Christmases or birthdays ago, I got a load of royal books, which I was really thankful for, but I've not had time to read. So it's one that I still have in my collection. But I can't tell you whether it was serious or not, because I haven't read it, but I do have it. Nancy says, yes, I would enjoy a video about you trying American food. Would be curious to see what you thought. Matt says, how much would it cost for you to do a London tour? Oh, I mean, I'm about 4 hours away by the train. So you've got your train fare, you've got your overnight stay or a couple of night stays if you want to do, if you want to see lots of things, or maybe even 3-night stay. You're probably talking about £1,000 probably, to stay in, you know, somewhere that's not too groshy, to stay in a good location so that you can get all the best views and you're not too far away from everything and things are in walking distance. Like I said, the train fare and the food, probably about £1,000, which is probably around $1,200, $1,300, something like that. So you can see why it's very expensive to go and visit. Matt says a book saying bad things. No, it's not a book saying bad things about her. No. But I couldn't tell you whether it's like serious or whether it's... I think it's just saying about the things that she said that could be funny. I think it's about exploring her sense of humour. And of course, she does have a very good sense of humour. Nancy says, I enjoy all your videos, so please make anything you like. Thank you very much. Matt says the Queen's land all put together is worth 33 trillion. Well, there you go, Donald Trump beat that. Nicole says, oh Elliot, just come here to America so I can make some great southern dishes for you. I would love to see those videos though. Speaking of southern dishes, I did see Mama June on Honey Boo Boo, and is it true that mo butter is mo better? Please let me know. Mo butter, mo better. Tony says, just Googled it, check it out, 2015 condo. I will definitely check that out. Vanzi says, did you tell us your birth date? If so, I missed it. I just said it was August, and in fact, it's a royal birthday. In fact, I share it with the late Queen Mother. So those of you who, I'm going to set you a little test, although I'm sure you'll Google, when was the late Queen Mother's birthday? Loretta says, I refuse to watch. Max says, the Queen might have a spare bed for you in the palace. I hope so. I would love to stay, but I very much doubt it. In fact, there are some jobs going at the palace. If you look on the website, the official website, there are some jobs going. Lots of summer jobs as well. Chelsea says, good, my mum wants me to quit it because I only work 1 day a week. Well, 1 day is better than nothing, and it's probably really good to get out there. So Chelsea, I say stick with it. And I think it's really good for you to have that interaction, even if it's just 1 day a week. Get out there, go into the world, interact with people, and I'm sure it will do you the world of good. So persevere. Max says, August the 4th. Yes, it's August the 4th. The late Queen Mother's birthday, and I always think about her on my birthday. In fact, on my own personal Facebook account, I always post a picture of the Queen Mother on my birthday. Lots of people getting the 4th of August. Nicole says, butter is great, but Mama June is not. I did like Mama June in Honey Boo Boo, I have to admit. Although I know she did a bad thing after or during. Jason Lou says 4th of August. Max says 4th of August. But I wasn't 1900. I'm not that old. Okay, so that was everything on my list that I had to talk about. And of course, I am going to be doing the video on the opening, which I can't wait. I'm going to do it straight after this chat. So does anyone have any other questions or anything you'd really love to talk about? And I hope you all enjoyed your cups of tea. Chelsea says, my mum doesn't like it because I don't get paid a lot. Who does? I think pay around the world isn't particularly good, but it's good for you, Chelsea, to get out there. And I think you told me once before, and of course I work in special needs. I think you said that you had autism. So I think regardless of whether the pay is good or not, I think it's really valuable to you, and more than money, I think it's valuable for you to have the experience and to get out there and to be interacting with other people. And I think the experience and the interaction is worth far more than the money to you. So even though your mother is saying give it up because it doesn't pay a lot, I would urge you to carry on, because I work in special needs and I know how important it is for you to get out there and experience life. So please stick with it. Tony says thank you. Matt says I'm turning 117 this year. I'll go with that. I'll roll with that. Nicole says, wow, August the 4th is Meghan's Markle's birthday too. It is. In fact, I found that out a few days ago when I was stalking her on Instagram, or was it Twitter? I don't know. But I was trying to see if she'd put any updates out there, and I did notice that something said her birthday was August the 4th. Matt says, no, I don't want you to go. If you've got some questions, I'll stay. Kelly says you should do British food as well for us Yanks. I could do, but I wanted to try some American. I just saw it. I saw it in the shop, and I thought I really want to know what a Twinkie tastes like. I have a Twinkie. What's a Twinkie? I don't even know what a Twinkie is. I have a little pot of Lucky Charms. What are they? I will find out. I will make a video. In fact, it's pretty much a food haul. I'll be doing a food haul video. And there's this drink thing that I have no idea what it is, but we will see. I will open them and I will react to them exactly as I find them. So let's see. Nicole says, thanks, Elliot. Please have a great weekend. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you. And Max says, I just saw a squeaky duck that looks like the Queen, 866. So cool. I don't have a bath. I actually got rid of my bath and had a big shower instead. So, but then again, the duck would probably look quite cute in the shower too. Maybe I'll find it. Tony says, Lucky Charms cereal. Well, we did have Lucky Charms when I was very, 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 very young. And I don't know if they've changed them since, but for some reason they stopped doing them in the UK. So I've not had them probably for 25 years, at least 25 years. So that will be an experience, I'm sure. Matt says, my birthday is the 23rd of September. I don't know any royals with that birthday. Off the top of my head, I don't either. Chelsea says it's because they just opened up. I said get me 5 or 6 months with the job. Well, stick with it. Please stick with it, Chelsea. Give it a chance, and I'm sure you'll settle down into it. Jason Lewis Young says, I don't believe any royal has been openly gay. Are you aware of any past or present? There were rumours about the first Earl Snowdon perhaps being bisexual. I mean, there have been rumours about gay royals in the past, but nobody openly gay. And of course, there was a really long period before Harry got his current girlfriend where people were thinking, you know, perhaps maybe he might be bisexual. He did say he was open to the idea in an interview once. But of course, he has a girlfriend now. So I don't think we will see a gay royal for a long time. However, one thing I think that does need addressing is the titles of gay or lesbian royal couples. There is no provision in British law for the spouse, for a same-sex spouse, and of course we have equal marriage in the UK, so same-sex couples can actually get properly married in the UK. There is no provision in British law for the spouse of the same-sex couple to have a title, a counterpart title. So if a male earl were to marry a man, the spouse wouldn't have a courtesy title, whereas a female spouse would be called countess. The male, the partner, doesn't have a title in law, and I think this probably needs addressing before it actually happens. I think what they're probably waiting for is for it to happen and then they'll address it, but personally I think it needs addressing beforehand so that everyone knows what's what. Vanessa Girl says, you might be a little disappointed with the Twinkie. I have no idea what it is. What is it? And then there's something called a Reese. Reese Reese or Reese, and it has peanut butter or something in it. I don't even like peanut butter, but I'm going to try it. Matt says, how often does the Queen use her train? Whenever she uses the appropriate mode of transport for whatever it is she's doing. So if it's more appropriate to use a helicopter, I think she prefers to use a helicopter because she can always come back to the palace or wherever she's staying. The train is for sort of a longer journey or a longer stay, where she can stay aboard the train as appropriate accommodation. So it depends where she's going. And when she doesn't, where is it? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I'd imagine it's somewhere near London. In fact, that's something that I could find out for you. Where is it stored? I would imagine somewhere in London, somewhere around London, so that if she wants to go off to Scotland or Wales or wherever it is, it's sort of ready there for her to get on, because of course she lives in the south. So I'm imagining the south. Jason Lewis Young says, I wish Harry was gay. Lots of people probably do too. Tony says, will Charles stop doing interviews when he is king? The Queen doesn't give interviews, so it would be expected of him to probably not give interviews. However, we know that with a change of head of state comes a different approach. We know that Donald Trump, as president, is doing lots of things different to previous presidents. So perhaps Charles will take his own steps and his own charge, and he will make the role his own. We don't know until it happens. Fansinger says, oh, Jason, that's cute. It is cute. Chelsea says, I heard one of the Queen Victoria's sons may have been gay. Again, it's a possibility, but no one was openly gay, or indeed lesbian. I'm sure somewhere along the line there was probably a lesbian royal too. Max says, why doesn't the Queen use her yacht? She doesn't have it anymore. It's still there. It's a tourist attraction moored up in Scotland, but she doesn't have a royal yacht anymore. But I would love to see a new one. I think we need one. I think in a Britain that's going through a Brexit, I think when overseas trade is so important to us, I think having a trade ship, and I don't think it should be necessarily thought of as a royal yacht, but more as a royal trade ship, some representative of the country that we can send off all over the world to do trade deals. And because it has a royal connection, I think it would do very well. We know that the previous royal yacht had billions and billions of pounds of deals made on it in the last 5 years before it was decommissioned. So a new trade ship, I think, would be very important to the UK, and I really hope one gets sanctioned and made. Max says she has another one apart from Britannia. No, she sometimes hires one, which she tours the islands of Scotland with, because she used to use Britannia to do like a Scottish Islands tour, and occasionally she will hire one and she will use it in the same way, but she doesn't actually own one. Princess Anne does own her own yacht. It's not as big as Britannia. In fact, it's quite small in comparison, but she does own one herself. Dawn says, Reese's peanut butter cups. Yes, that's it. It's a peanut butter cup. You're saying, but I don't know. Vanzi goes, a Twinkie is a small cake. It's a long bar. You'll see when I do it. It's a long bar thing. I don't know. It's a long thing. I don't know. Max says, do you know the Queen has given more than 410,000 honours and awards in her reign? It must be around that, possibly even more. I mean, you know, the 60+ years she's been doing it, that's a lot of honours. Reese's are chocolates. I've gathered their chocolates and something to do with peanut butter, I think. Marimi says, good night, keep up with the good job. Good night and see you next week. Matt says, 1.5 million people have attended her garden parties. They have indeed. And of course she does 3-4 a year, maybe slightly more. She does more now than what she used to do. And of course, she also does them when she's up in Scotland at Holyrood. After Charles is king, will there be a public investiture ceremony at Carnarvon Castle? Charles was unique in that sense. I think he was the first investiture with an actual ceremony, I think, in all of history. Whether we will see that again in that capacity, I don't know. There might be a public, if there's a public outcry for it, or a public need for it, or a public suggestion for it, then maybe we'll see it. Of course, I would love to see it. I have actually been there myself, and I have stood. I've got a photograph of me stood on the Welsh slate dais where it actually happened, where the Queen actually placed the coronet on Charles. I stood on the exact spot. It's an amazing place, and I would love to see another one, but in truth, we don't know. And I don't know if it will be private or not. Dawn says, I think they should recommission the Britannia. At the time it was decommissioned, Prince Philip did say that all it needed was new engines to convert it into something a little bit more efficient. So it's still in good nick, it's still been maintained, it could be recommissioned. But I would quite like to see a brand new one, a new Britannia, but more as a trade ship, but of course still with those royal links. Kian Fern says, hi Kian. Steve says the Queen should have a royal yacht. Should we start a petition? I believe there was talk about one once, but of course that's gone a little bit by the wayside with recent political events going on. Yes, let's start one. Why not? Loretta says, I refuse to watch the inauguration, but not my live chat. I actually did watch the inauguration. I like anything like that. So I did watch it, but I still think a royal coronation is better. Of course, we've not had one for so long, but definitely better. Chelsea says, whatever King Charles does in the future, will he say he did it his way? I don't think they'll have a song like that. It'll be some kind of royal orchestral music, which I think is a little bit more classy. Nancy Gill says, I recall the videos when the Queen said goodbye to Britannia. She shed a tear. She did, and of course, it was the only home, albeit a floating home, that she actually saw from the design point that she actually had input in. Of course, all the palaces were already furnished and decorated, and it's the only home that she could design and pick the furniture for and have private family moments on. So, of course, it was very emotional. Mark says, I wonder what 17 Britain Street would have looked like if it was still here today. I think it was Bruton. Was it Bruton Street? I think it was B-R-U-E-T-O-N, Bruton Street. And I think there is photographs of it. So go on Google and have a look. I think it was just the classic design of a London street pre-war. And of course, it got knocked down and redeveloped. And of course, that was the birthplace of the Queen. Nicole says she refused to watch as well. Fancy Girl says, and you must have a box of several Twinkies. No, it's just one in a big long wrapper. I think it was a Twinkie. I don't know. Anyway, it's a big long thing that's called Twinkie. Is there something else that's big and long that has a name similar to a Twinkie? Dawn says the investiture should be a tradition now. Well, hopefully. I mean, it's only happened once. I think to become a tradition, it might need to happen twice, but we'll see. Max says, I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of your great imperial family to which we all belong. That's my impression of the Queen. Again, that is an amazing quote, and one that I think will probably be her epitaph. Jason Lewis Young says, who inherited the Duke of Windsor's estate? He obviously had the Duchy of Cornwall when Prince of Wales, unlike George VI. Again, that just passes on, so it would have reverted back to the crown. And of course, his personal possessions would have gone to his wife, the Duchess of Windsor. And whatever happened in her will, it would have been distributed that way. So anything that belonged to the crown previously would have gone back to the crown, basically. Fuzzy Puppet says, do you think the monarchy will survive long enough for George to become king? Yes, I do. I think it will. Matt says, sorry, it is Bruton Street. I did say that, just autocorrect. Kian Third says, Twinkies. I'm going to try a Twinkie. If you've just joined, I will be trying a Twinkie on video. Not now, but in a future video. In an American food haul video. Letter says, when you do Queen Victoria series, will you have videos on each of her children's lives until death? That's the intention. And of course, when I get more time to be able to do these videos, I will hopefully be going through every single royal, whether it be a big royal or a minor royal. So I hope to do these profiles. Matt says, tell us about Royal Life magazine. I did do the video on this month's issue, so I hope you enjoyed that if you've seen it. I do basically skip through the pages and tell you what the content is, because of course I can't sit there and read it to you. That would be against copyright, and I'm sure Royal Life magazine don't mind the promotion. But I do really enjoy Royal Life magazine. It's my favorite. I did used to read Majesty, but I quite like the style and the feel of Royal Life magazine. I think it's more comprehensive. It doesn't go so much into the history of the monarchy, but it's very up to date and current. It's kind of like a magazine style version of my channel. We kind of cover the same kind of stories. So I would recommend it. It's one of my favorite. Fancy Girl says, lovely spending time with you. Have a wonderful week. If you're off, then good night to you all, or good day, depending on your time. Loretta says, I just read an article where one of the Queen's cousins just came out. Yes, I did a video on it. Scroll back. If you look in my playlist, supporting cast, have a look in there and scroll down, and you will see a video I made on it. I think we're going back about 6 months now. So have a look in there and you will see it. Max says, about Churchill, I actually did a piece about him, an art piece about him. What did you make? A statue or a painting, or what did you make? Please let me know. So we've been on chat. I've been live, I think, for over an hour and a half now. The first 3 minutes of the video was silent because the mic wasn't working. I can't edit that out, so I'm afraid that will be stuck on the video forever. So I hope you've all enjoyed this live chat. Please buy the book for the book club about Margaret Rhodes. You can find it on Amazon. If you go back through the chat, you'll be able to see that. You made a lino print. Wow. In fact, I think I remember doing lino prints when I was at school. Guys keep asking questions so he doesn't go. I do have to go. It is late here in the UK, and I really want to make my video of my opening. I'm going to make the opening video. And of course, I will be back next week, live as always. And if you want to ask more questions, stockpile some questions, write them down so you don't forget them. As always, I really enjoy it. Please bring your cup of tea next time. So from me in Shropshire, it's time to say goodbye. And some of you saying that you can't wait for the opening video. I can't wait to make it. I really want to. Look, there's the Prince of Wales's feathers. I really want to make it. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to bid you all farewell. I hope you all have a fabulous week. I hope you enjoy all the videos I've got coming up. I did forget to mention it was Sophie, Countess of Wessex's birthday, which I'm going to do a montage video for that as well, hopefully tomorrow. So from me in Shropshire, as always, I appreciate all your comments and your likes and your shares. You can follow me on all the social media. I have all the links in the comment section, but not the comment section, the description below. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.